Titans, go!
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, aka Titan Talk, the Doom Patrol podcast. Once again, as we're going to talk some more Doom Patrol. I'm Charles Skaggs, one of your co-hosts, and of course, with me here in Doom Manor, once again, is everybody's favorite co-host, my favorite co-host, Jesse Jackson. Hi, Jesse. How are you?
Hello, Charles. Happy May 4th and happy Cinco de Mayo as we're recording this.
Yeah, I was going to say, today's May 5th. So
yes,
Cinco
but it's
de Mayo.
the weekend.
So we do May the 4th be with you, and then we take a break for Cinco de Mayo, and then we come back for Revenge of the 6th.
Yes. And I thought it was very nice of the Doom Patrol to throw in a Star Wars and in the honor of this being released on May the 4th.
Well, not only that, but also for those who obviously may not be aware, sadly, Chewbacca, the actor who played Chewbacca, we lost him, Peter Mayhew.
Yes.
Passed away over the weekend, and well, at least he passed away last week. We got word of it late in the week.
Yes.
And it was very, I'm sure, just completely coincidental that Cliff Steele makes a Chewbacca reference on that very same week that the real Chewbacca passes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. They showed a picture. He was supposed to be at Dallas Fantasy Fair this weekend, and I thought it was a nice moment. The convention set up his table.
Mm-hmm.
And had it set up so that people could come by and drop flowers.
Oh, that's nice. As like a little memorial, they could.
Yes, that was good.
That is good.
My biggest memory of him, I met him
because he lived in Texas, as I learned.
Yes, he did. One of my favorite memories. He was very quiet. I think this was before the surgery, so he was in a lot of pain. But his lovely wife was at Dragon Con, and we were waiting to get our luggage, after, like where you're, waiting to, the luggage carousel.
Yes.
And so she's talking to me. She's very outgoing. Oh, you're at Dragon Con. Hope your wife knows what happens at Dragon Con stays at Dragon Con. And she's really funny.
That's funny.
And she mentioned that her business card said Wookiee Handler.
Nice. That's great.
And I remembered that much, that she seemed very charming, very in love. He was polite. He was smiled and nice.
Right.
This was way before we had cell phones with cameras, and I wouldn't have bugged him anyway. But that was I remember them together, her traveling and her kind of taking care of him. So
well, it's nice that you got a memory like that. That's good.
And
I was only able to see him off a little ways in the distance at one of the Cincinnati cons.
Yeah.
And I have a picture of him, but that's it. So
yeah, and
not as obviously much of a memory as you.
Yes, one of the in my fantasy, Brad Meltzer, best-selling writer, listens to Titan Talk because Titans is so amazing. His growing up, Terra broke his heart.
You better be listening, Brad. Just saying.
Exactly. He tweeted a photo that there was a cartoon drawing of Chewbacca being held by a young Leia. Says, "Come on, it's time to go home."
Right.
And I don't know. I'm sure everyone's seen it, but it was a beautiful illustration. So yes.
Yeah, I know when I posted about the news, I found this great GIF where Chewbacca is hugging Leia.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so I use that. So,
yeah. So
very, But yeah, I know this isn't Star Wars talk,
No, but we did
Star
want
Wars
to.
talk,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's obviously something that comic book sci-fi fans, this is a big deal in our community, and
absolutely.
obviously wanted to kind of acknowledge that, especially with the reference that Cliff makes in this
Yes, it
episode.
was perfect timing.
Yep.
But all right, so let's
So yeah,
head back to Doom Manor.
yeah. So we're gonna obviously talk here at episode 32. We're gonna talk Cyborg Patrol. And this is obviously a big Cyborg episode, so this means it's very related to Titans. So this is why we're doing that here on Titan Talk, the Cyborg connection. And this was the 12th episode of Doom Patrol Season 1, just came out a few days ago on May 3rd, 2019, written by new writer Robert Behrens to the show, and Shoshana Sachi, who's already written a couple of episodes for Doom Patrol, including Donkey Patrol and Paw Patrol. She wrote those previously. Directed by new director Carol Banker. This episode,
Okay.
and I thought everybody did a great job in this one.
Yeah, I thought it was a really another good episode. This series is really it's very tightly written. I
Yes.
mean, I don't, I know as a writer, know a lot about this. I tend to listen to a lot of entertainment podcasts and interviews with showrunners and writers, and they talk about breaking down the story and how all the room works. And I just imagine that this was a really strong. Okay, we're going to do X amount of episodes. Here's how we're going to do this, and
Yep.
it's really shown well.
Yeah, it's a credit to their writers' room that they were able to kind of structure the season the way they did, and I like this episode primarily also because it we've had some like slow burning, back burning subplots, and those kind of get brought to the forefront in this episode with some a huge dramatic turn at the end, and it's great. I was hoping that we would get some payoffs, and I was glad to see that actually happening here.
We did, yes, absolutely.
All right, guest cast this week. We get the introduction of Devan Chandler Long as the mysterious 722, Vic's cell neighbor in the ant farm. Obviously, you need to pay close attention to this guy because, as it turns out, he's going to be revealed as the mysterious Flex Mentallo, man of muscle mystery, so stay tuned for that. He's been on some episodes. He played a character called the Foremost on Sci-Fi's The Magicians recently, and he also played a character named Kincaid on Marvel's The Runaways on Hulu.
Okay.
And he also played a character named Tat on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So he's got some comic book TV show background here.
He really, I thought while he was in his cell,
Yeah.
looked a lot like Mick Foley.
Right.
From the
with the big
Mankind,
hair.
with the beard and everything. I was like,
See,
did they get Mick Foley to play this part?
And I thought he looked like Alan Moore, but hey, that's
well,
me.
no, very much. Mick Foley was one of Chris's favorite wrestlers when he was a young guy.
Yeah, I know.
Mankind, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Sacco. Yes, but he does look like Alan Moore. So good point.
Yeah. We get the return of Jon Briddell as Darren Jones. Major League A-hole. Mac Wells is Agent Dirk Ellis, who was introduced last episode. He returns to get his Reservoir Dogs groove on. We get the introduction of a character named Richie Crownfield as General Wampus, who ends up getting killed, or killing himself rather, in this episode. Keith Flippin as GS9 Patterson, one of the generals. He was in episodes of *Halt and Catch Fire*, *Minority Report*, the movie, and even interestingly, the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. That one episode where Harrison Ford actually returned for as Indiana Jones which I thought was cool. The Rhythm of the Blues or whatever it was. That episode. Darla Delgado played Major Arbuckle, and she's been in episodes of Nashville, Sleepy Hollow, and the 2004 Punisher movie. So that's an interesting selection. We had Alicia Ying as Lab Tech Lee, who gives Cliff all kinds of crap in this episode. And we had Ted Ferguson as an older version of Forsyth, a character we've met previously. He's been in episodes of Preacher, the movie Logan, and the 2010 remake of True Grit, which I really like. So some interesting cast members this time.
Oh, yes, very interesting.
And so we some quick trivia before we get into our main topics. This episode was very loosely based on Doom Patrol Volume 2, number 44, which was called Voices. And in the comic, the Grant Morrison and Richard Case comic, the characters Dorothy Spinner and Flex Mentallo are the ones who get captured by the Men from Nowhere, who in this show are substituted by the Bureau of Normalcy. And they get brought to the ant farm underneath the Pentagon. So we really get to see that's when we finally go to the ant farm in this episode, and they have these weird operators,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about them in a minute, shortly here. But that's right from the comics. So it was kind of cool to kind of see those very odd creatures, those kind of android-like creatures. And then also one other little trivia bit I want to mention before we get going. When Darren Jones is talking about jamming a fork into his wife's eye late in
Yes.
the episode, that really disturbing story that he tells Rita
Very disturbing.
and the others, that's a nod to Doom Patrol number 35, Jones's first appearance, where there's a scene where Darren's boss is coming for dinner in this very very dark version, almost of a like an old like Leave It to Beaver type 50s type setting sitcom, and he's allergic to what she's making, which is called skinless stew, and Jones is just angry that his wife may have spoiled a chance at his promotion, so he jams a barbecue fork into her eyes. As the audience laugh track goes on, and it's a very dark, twisted version of a 50s sitcom, and so it's kind of interesting that they would give that little nod to the comics there, a little Easter egg if you're a comic fan, essentially.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but other than that, if you're ready, let's go into our main topics.
Let's do it.
All right. So, topic number 1, and this is a big one. And yes, there is a theme this week.
Okay.
Topic number 1, short circuit. And this, obviously, I want to talk about Vic, and I want to talk about Silas, and as we find out at the end, Mr. Nobody. Because all of Vic's problems seem to be revealed as, once again, Mr. Nobody tormenting the various Doom Patrol members one-on-one. And for Vic, it has horrible consequences. So what did you think of Vic in this episode?
So I think, first off,
Yes.
Great performance.
Yes.
He very much captured the kind of confusion that he's feeling.
Right.
I think this was a really good job. When we
You're
get to one,
you're talking about Joyvan Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are times when, and we'll talk about this in one of your other categories, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But as an audience member, you're in the joke, or you're in the story.
Yes.
I wasn't sure about this because of the way his dad is portrayed. And we've already talked about we really like that actor.
Are you saying that you weren't sure if you could trust Silas?
Yes.
Okay.
And so when you saw the videos, there are times when you go, "Oh, come on, Vic, you should know that's fake."
Right.
The only one I thought was a little too much was the very end, where they talk about, "Hey, maybe you're going to, this would think it's." It would think human cells need to be repaired, and he could become 100% cyborg. And
where Silas's assistant is warning him, "Hey, look, if you do this, you're going to turn your kid into completely cybernetic.
Yeah, and your point.
Yeah,
That
like
when I knew, okay, that's a little over the top.
right.
Um,
But
if
but
they
to
had
but
said
but
it,
to
but
but to
up,
Vic, but
yeah,
to Vic, he's being very paranoid at this moment, and he's
yeah,
got these inherent trust issues with his father, and he's also being kind of half driven crazy by Grid.
yes,
So
yeah, keep
he's
gritting.
not thinking clearly at
Yeah,
all.
exactly. So, I just thought this was a great story. I was very
Very
sad
very
by the
tragic.
end. I kept hoping, okay, maybe his dad's not really dead. Maybe his dad's not really dead.
Right?
But it looks pretty often that Mr. Nobody would not show up too early.
Yeah.
So he's now killed his father.
It's not looking
Um,
good for Silas, I should
it
say.
does not, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't look good for Vic. I mean, this is something that could destroy him.
Right.
So yeah, I was very much impressed. Um, a little, it was a little too sad of an ending for me, but I
Yeah.
know
That's drama,
that's
man.
yeah, that's how I yeah, that's how I feel.
Right.
I'm not
It's
saying
like
it's
Game of Thrones. You don't always
yeah,
get your happy endings.
exactly. So yeah, I just was I thought it worked really well. The interactions, him snapping like that, the payoff with Mr. Nobody, and Alec Tudyk saying, "I told you not to come look after me," as
Right.
in this is your own fault. I
It's like,
mean, it's
see, I warned you. Yeah, exactly. Like you're shifting blame. It's like, no, this isn't me. This is
yeah,
all you because you wouldn't leave me alone,
right,
and you had all of these trust issues with your father,
yeah,
and this is just you. You're the one who did this. So he's basically
yeah.
absolving himself of all responsibility for this.
Yeah, it's like a abusive spouse saying,
Right.
you
Right.
know, why do you do this to me?
Yep.
If you would just do what I told you to do, I
Yep.
wouldn't have to do this. And it
Or
was,
like a childhood bully going, stop hitting
yeah,
yourself. Stop hitting
yeah,
yourself. Yeah.
just a great, great ending, and I was
Yeah.
just yeah, wonderfully executed by everyone, and takes us to um, sets up the rest of the season where you're really, I don't know about you, but I'm really worried where they're going to go and how's Vic going to recover from this.
Yeah, I am too. And now we saw what Mr. Nobody did to the original Doom Patrol, and apparently left them shattered and broken. And
Yeah.
here he's kind of doing the same thing. We saw him go after Cliff by sending Admiral Whiskers inside him and
Hmm.
completely screwing with his life.
Yeah.
But Cliff thankfully seemed to have recovered from that.
Hmm.
But Vic, I'm not sure because this is obviously a tough one to come back from. The fact
Yeah.
that you were driven crazy and you killed your father in this fit of insanity,
Yeah.
and obviously now your father's dead. So essentially, Vic already blames himself for killing his mom in the lab accident,
Hmm.
and now he's killed his father.
Yeah.
And so this has just has to destroy him at this point.
Yeah.
And we'll see where he goes from here.
Hmm.
Um, and we don't know exactly what's left of him because
Yes.
in this episode we saw his cybernetic percentage keep like escalating rapidly. Like
Yeah.
it starts off at 60 and is almost to 70 and just keeps going up and up. And um, so the question is, how much of him is still human?
Yeah, and you wonder how much of that is reality, how much of it is Mr. Nobody manipulating things.
Right,
So
exactly.
we'll have to see.
Yeah, we don't even know. We can't trust what's true.
Yeah.
We can't. And because of Mr. Nobody using grid, and the question is, well, is it again is grid able to be trusted, or is it just um, Mr. Nobody manipulating grid, or both, or like you can't trust either of them at this point. And Vic has got to have a hard time discerning what's real. I mean, when he was in his cell, he's kind of huddled down, going like, like this isn't real, this isn't real. And so he has no idea what reality is at this point, I
Exactly.
think. Yeah, so it's very disturbing. But yeah, Joyvan Wade did a amazing job with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just pretty phenomenal. And now Silas Stone, um, we got his character actually gets to be more active in this episode because he's the one who helps the Doom Patrol infiltrate the ant farm.
Yes.
And so, what did you think of his plan to essentially? He was expecting um, the ant farm to expect him to betray the team.
Yeah, and
So what did you think about all that?
so I
His plan,
strongly suspected that this was all a ruse.
right?
That I did not think he was
Even
really.
even when they got captured, you
Yeah,
felt that this is all part of the plan.
yeah. And that's why that's what I was talking about earlier. That's why I never felt like, oh, Silas could be trusted as far
Right.
as Vic, and that it's Mr. Nobody manipulating him. I did not see that. I did believe that Silas was trying to save his son, and
Yes.
using them to do it. I love the caper. I'm a sucker on caper movies, and the
Yes.
whole idea of everyone doing this and Rita
Yeah.
hiding.
And I want to talk about that in our
Okay.
second segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I just knew, and I'm glad that they cut back and showed um, that. Okay, let me show you what happened.
Right.
And so that was great.
Yeah, that was great.
Hmm.
Okay. Anything else about Vic, Silas, or Mr. Nobody before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. Topic number 2: Real Steel. And this I want to talk. This I want to talk about the Doom Patrol here because so we're essentially Cliff, Rita, Larry, and Jane,
Okay.
who, despite their trust issues with Silas, have to kind of agree to trust him to because they both kind of need each other to help save Vic.
Yeah.
And we get Larry coming forward with the team about his experience with the Bureau of Normalcy. And obviously, once they're brought into the ant farm, they're kind of gone experience these kind of a little bit of torture, but mostly, just some very interesting scenes. So I want to talk about the team here. And what did you think about them, these 4 members in this episode?
I just loved this. I loved the interactions between them. The Rita having a little bit of ego.
Yeah,
I'm intricate. I'm the intricate one,
yeah.
and
The linchpin.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
then
linchpin.
another thing that I
The
really,
linchpin to the plan. Yeah.
yeah, the other thing I really liked is when they separate the energy creature,
Yeah, the spirit, negative
yeah,
spirit.
this
Yeah.
negative spirit, from Larry. When he has the chance to leave,
Hmm.
you're coming with me.
Right.
You
You're
know,
coming with me, pal.
yeah,
He calls
yeah,
him.
yeah,
He's still calling him pal. So
yeah,
essentially, they're getting on a lot better these days.
yeah, and I think that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
They've come to an understanding.
Cliff. Okay, so I go back and forth
Yeah.
between Jane is my
Cl-
favorite, Cliff is my
Yeah.
favorite. I mean,
But that's good because that
yeah,
shows what great ensemble cast there is.
yeah, and
Cliff being suspended by that magnet in his room was a hilarious sequence.
yes, and I,
When he's hanging there, and Lab Tech Lee comes
yeah,
in,
yeah,
and he's trying to convince her, like, hey, I'm worthwhile, I'm worth keeping, I have a soul,
yeah.
and
So,
she's completely dismissive of him.
yeah, I am not often I don't do quotes because you got to pause, you got to back up because I'm not a very
Right.
quick typist. But I
Yeah.
took the time to Cliff's.
But you want to save that? You want to save that for later?
Yes, I will save that.
Yeah, save
Cliff's,
because I've got that too. But
yeah,
but
yeah, that's the only one
let's
I
save that.
have. So there.
Let's save that. Let's save
Yeah.
that for our favorite quotes then.
Yeah.
But it was a great moment.
It was a Great moment. And
And that lab tech is just Lee is just giving Cliff all kinds of shade. He's trying to like, look, I'm a genius, and so she counters with like, okay, genius, she gives him this math problem involving
yeah.
two trains and what time would they encounter one another, or
Hmm.
at what spot would they encounter one another, and he obviously can't figure this out,
Yeah.
especially in his head.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing I loved is Jane being bored,
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
um,
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, and this
yeah,
guy just,
yeah.
oh,
Agent
you
Dirk Ellis.
broke
Yes.
my arm. Like, oh,
Right.
come on, you
Well,
know?
yeah, because he tries to give her this Rorschach test,
Yeah,
and and he's like, or at least he was told to give her a Rorschach test, and so he holds up various Rorschach blob
yeah,
images cards, and he goes, okay, bitch, you broke my arm. Throws one card away. Bitch, you broke my arm, and then
yeah.
and his third one is like, and bitch, you broke my arm is gonna get what's coming to her, all
Hmm.
menacingly, and Jane is just completely not impressed with him.
Yeah, and then like love that. Okay, I get it. You've seen Reservoir Dogs, you
Yes.
know. And then that's it. I'm going straight for it. And I just love to, because you just knew
Yeah.
Hammerhead was going to come and save the day. I
Yeah.
mean, at least in my mind, I said one of her badass personas is going to come on board. Oh wait, it's Karen,
Yes.
and that's just perfect.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
walking.
because what happens is, instead of, and I was a little disappointed with this, because if they were going to do a Reservoir Dogs reset, they should
Hmm.
have been playing "Stuck in the Middle with You" by Steeler's Wheel,
Hmm.
which is featured in the movie during the torture scene,
Yeah.
and the instead they play Agent Dirk Ellis plays. Like I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base from the 90s,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, really? Okay. Well, maybe he's just like he likes that song better. And even Jane isn't impressed with it,
Right.
and she's giving him shade about it. So like uh, he the CD or whatever in his player starts skipping, so he hits on it, and then it changes to uh, they don't know by Tracy Ullman. As in, yes, that Tracy Ullman who had the Tracy Ullman show that spun off into The Simpsons. And
Yeah.
that Tracy Ullman, yeah, once upon a time back in the 80s, she actually had a top 40 hit,
Hmm.
and that was it. Apparently, that's Karen's song, and that's what brought Karen out.
Yep.
And I thought it was a pretty funny scene.
It was awesome, and
And so she mind controls him, and that's how she gets out of it.
yeah, and the whole what perfect the what's our favorite book? All right, together.
The,
1, 2, 3. Fault in Our Stars.
Fault in Our Stars,
Oh,
yeah,
that was awesome.
that was hilarious. But then you notice though, Karen isn't really happy with the other members of the Doom Patrol, especially Rita and Cliff. So she sicks Dirk Ellis on them.
Yes, I saw that. I liked it.
And then this was a very funny moment because, okay, so Dirk raises his gun, goes after Cliff. Cliff comes at him, breaks his other arm, if you notice. So he has two broken arms now. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That is awesome.
And then Jane, or Hammerhead, finally snaps back and takes control and decks him. So
Yes.
that was a pretty good scene. But one of the things I really loved about the Doom Patrol in this one was going back to Cliff's moments, where Rita oozes out of his insides and onto
Yes.
the floor, and she's all ew, ew, ew. And um, Rita, I thought was pretty funny that like at first, here she comes out and she resumes her normal form, but she's naked, and
Hmm.
she's like, "Don't look." And of course, Cliff's looking because it's Cliff,
Yes.
and he's like, like, "Oh, you don't use a moisturizer, do you?"
Yes.
And I thought that was funny. And then and another great moment just after that is when Lab Tech Lee returns, and Rita is kind of pissed off at Lab Tech Lee for being so abusive to Cliff. She goes
Hmm.
like, "Hey, how dare she, make you appear small and insignificant or useless or whatever." And then she goes, like, "Well, okay." Um, she Rita drops the magnet and drops Cliff on her on Lab Tech Lee, which I thought was very funny.
Yes.
And it's like, see, you're not useless.
Yeah.
That was a great moment.
And I are we? Is she? Do you think he killed her on falling on top of
I
her?
don't know. I would think,
Yeah.
but we don't know.
Okay.
I would think a fall from. I mean, that had to be at least. She had to use a ladder, so that had to be at least what, 10 feet, 15 feet off the ground.
Yes.
So, and being as heavy as Cliff is, I
Yeah.
mean, if nothing else, it severely broke a lot of her bones. I would
Yeah.
think, if it
And
even if it didn't kill her.
and we're, you know,
Yeah.
it's she deserves it. Sorry to say it.
Yeah, she was a horrible person. So
Hmm.
yeah, like slapping that like scrap sticker right on top of Cliff's forehead, and you notice he never takes it off. He doesn't realize it's there. I think
Yeah.
he's just walking around with a scrap sticker on his forehead. That was pretty funny. Okay, anything else about the Doom Patrol before we move on?
Nope.
All right, topic number 3, Westworld. So we had Short Circuit, Real Steel, and Westworld.
So robot movies.
Robot movie. So Short
Yes.
Circuit from 1986, Real Steel from 2011, and Westworld, the original, not the TV series, the original movie with Yul Brynner from 1973. So,
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, very simple theme this week, robot movies in honor of Cliff, or excuse me, in honor of Vic and Cliff, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, but here I want to talk about 722, the mysterious 722, Darren Jones, and the Ant Farm.
Okay.
So what did you think of 722? I mean, we talked about how he looked like Mick Foley or Alan Moore,
Hmm.
but apparently 722 is just he reaches out to Vic and talks to him as Vic, like Vic's trying to escape, and 722 is just like, don't bother.
Yeah. You get to serve your country. You come back and you get a sandwich. Who
Yeah,
doesn't like sandwiches? Not to spoil, but I almost picked sandwiches as
right.
my rating icon. Um, this was I really found him interesting.
Yeah,
I thought was really interesting is he heard some of the internal dialogue.
of Grid.
Yeah, and so
And Vic is all like, how did you do that?
yeah,
And then 722 immediately changes the subject, going like, "Look, I'm trying to watch my show here."
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like he's watching the soap opera Secret Hearts.
Yeah, that was great.
And but yeah, apparently 722, as we learn, has been presumably experimented on several times. And he comes back, and there's like they've given him some luxuries, like he's got a recliner chair, he's got
Fuzzy slippers.
fuzzy slippers, a color TV.
Hmm.
Obviously a little more than Vic has in his cell.
Hmm.
And, he seems very content there. And
Hmm.
probably part of that is because, we understand things, when he's brought out for experimentation, somehow they must erase his memory of what happened. Because he's not quite sure. He says, well, like, I don't know, like, what happens. Vic asked him, like, what happened while you were out there?
Hmm.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I
Yeah,
can't remember.
yeah.
So it's like they wipe his memory.
They obviously do some kind of memory wipe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Hmm.
but obviously, at the end of the episode, presumably he's released,
Hmm.
and knowing who he eventually is revealed as Flex Mentallo, um, we'll see what happens to him next episode.
Hmm.
But I thought it was a really interesting way to introduce the character, because in the
Yeah.
comics he was kind of introduced as as kind of like a homeless guy on Danny the Street.
Hmm.
And here he's kind of introduced as this fellow prisoner to Vic. So that's obviously a divergence from the comics.
Okay.
But I thought it was an interesting one. We get the return of Darren Jones, and Darren and really the whole like Ant Farm Bureau of Normalcy organization is anything but normal. If you notice, it's kind of ironic because they're into some weird stuff, as it turns out.
They are very weird. I
Now,
mean,
what did you make of them in this? What did you make of the Ant Farm organization in this
like the
episode?
general eating the fast food burger.
Yeah, it's like
I,
he gets this like covered dish
yeah.
brought out to him by his like a female secretary or something, and he opens it finally, and it's a Big Mac in a cardboard container.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like Donald Trump would approve, and just he starts chowing down on this thing, but he seems like this General Wampus seems like he's been seriously brain fried at some point. He's not talking sense. He's just kind of nodding along with everything the others are saying.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes this like weird comment at the beginning going, "We mustn't upset the butts."
Yeah.
And you hear that comment at first, you're like, what does he mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
And as we find out later, well, hey, there are actually these really bizarre creatures called the butts, which are exactly as advertised on the wrapper. These walking butts that are walking around on their hands because they have no legs or whatever. They're actual posteriors that have eyeballs, and their butt cheeks open as with sharp teeth, and they can attack you and kill you. So what did you think of that whole bizarre scene when the butts are released from the cells and they're just swarming through those corridors, and they actually get a hold of Darren Jones and drag him into a room? Not sure if we'll see Darren ever again.
One, I'm glad.
Yeah. You thought Darren had a coming.
Darren deserved the death.
Yeah.
It's okay, Charles.
Yes.
I was totally fooled.
Yeah.
I should know this show that sometimes they're going to be literal.
Right.
But I wasn't. When I heard butts, I was thinking that's just a derogatory term they're using for their captives.
Yes.
And then when you see the this swarm of butts, you're like, oh my goodness.
And you can't believe what you're watching.
I cannot believe.
Now, that's something that this wasn't from the comics at all. This is something the show came up with on its own.
Well done, show.
There's something you don't see every day, is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But, very surreal image, and that happened, essentially. Now, what did you think of the odd operator creatures that were kind of like there's like an information room where everybody's kind of hurriedly passing folders and stuff back and forth, and we have the operators, which are these weird cybernetic creatures that have like these kind of like mini telescope eyeballs, and they're kind of like being raised and carried over by a hydraulic motor across the room and back and forth. And what do you think of that whole imagery?
I just thought they were weird.
That was you got the point.
Yeah, I just thought it was really, really weird. Yeah, very much so. And
it's even more disturbing if you as I mentioned from the comics, because in the comics, the ant farm is located deep within the bowels of the Pentagon.
Right.
So I'm hoping they will reveal that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. So this Bureau of Normalcy is anything but.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Exactly.
But anything else? Anything else about the ant farm or Darren Jones or 722?
No, I'm
or anything else? Anything else about the episode, really?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. I loved seeing the Bureau of Normalcy kind of get handed their butt on a plate
Right.
since they were so arrogant. Like, oh, this was actually
Yeah.
pretty easy
Yeah,
to catch
exactly.
him. So
Right.
I'm hoping that
Yeah.
this will come through some good things. But no, I was really happy with it.
Yeah, and obviously we don't know if we're going to ever see the Bureau of Normalcy again, but you know, it kind of tied up that loose end at least.
Absolutely, yes.
For right now, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so if there's nothing else,
Nope.
let's go into our favorite quotes this week.
All right, so I'll
so
start
just,
us off since
yeah,
I
why
have
don't
the one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Cliff is hanging from the ceiling,
Yeah.
and he's talking to the, lab
tech.
person. Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to me? Torture? Surgery? Reprogramming? Because I warn you, I've been through a lot. A crap ton.
An S-ton. Yeah.
Yes, edited.
Yep.
Hive-minded Nazis, giant evil eye, whole effing town being swallowed up, stabbed an alligator in two for my daughter. So lay it on me, Four Eyes. Take your best shot, because I don't crack.
That was a great
line.
line.
Loved it. I love
yeah,
that.
He's being all defiant.
Yeah.
And Lab Tech Lee is just like, that's nice.
Yeah.
Ignores him. That was pretty
exactly.
Fun. Yeah, very, very interesting. Very funny.
Yes.
Brendan Fraser always brings his A game.
He is.
He
really does a
Cliff,
great job on this.
Cliff is essentially the heart of the Doom Patrol.
Yes, I agree.
And he's the everyman. He gives the everyman's point of view. And it's always fun. Always fun to get him. I liked an early exchange between Rita and Cliff where they're talking about whether they can trust Silas. And Rita goes, Vic wouldn't want us involving his father. He doesn't trust him. And Cliff replies, I agree. Silas is a grade A douche nozzle. Is it possible this will just work itself out? Vic's not like us. He's effing Cyborg, a real superhero. He can use his computer thingy, bust himself free. I don't know. Send a text to Batman.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a good line, I thought. Let's see what else we got here. Jane to Silas, where Jane's giving him a little shade as Silas is talking about how to rescue Vic. Jane goes, there must be something you can do. You know those creeps. You've worked with those creeps. You basically are one of those creeps. So I thought that was a good bit of shade.
Yes.
And another exchange between Cliff and Lab Tech Lee, where Cliff goes, no. You might not realize this, dude, but I'm a functioning human brain in a robot. How many times have you seen that? And Lab Tech Lee goes, about a dozen. The BON got pretty Looney Tunes in the Nixon years, stuffing brains into everything. We still have a super sarcastic toaster that we use on the newbies. It's fun.
Yeah, it was. And she's so, it's funny all while she's just, she truly just does think.
So callous toward Vic, or toward Cliff.
Yeah.
But, it was, just like typical bureaucrat, I guess, almost. A good exchange between Rita and Cliff when just after Rita oozes out of his insides, where she goes, ew, Cliff, that was excruciating. Your insides smell like an old greasy oil drum. And Cliff replies, hey, that wasn't me. It was the rat that was running around inside me. I told Vic to put an air freshener in there, which was a nice callback to way back when Cliff said, yeah, you want to put like an air freshener in there? So I thought that was good.
I thought that was great.
I like the reset. And then, of course, Jane's great line when she's facing off against Agent Dirk Ellis, and he's trying to do his little torture thing, and she goes, we get it, douche flap. You saw Reservoir Dogs. Do me a solid. Chop off my ears already so I don't have to listen to another verse of Ace of effing Base.
Yeah, I love that.
That was great.
Yes.
So that was good. So a lot of great lines in this one.
It was.
And just made for this is a home run, or not really a home run, but it was pretty strong, this episode.
Yeah, so I would give it a home run. I give it 9 out of 10 scrap stickers.
Nice.
It was just really good, and I understand why it ended in a down note, which was perfect. It was such a funny episode, and to end so tragically was perfect. It kind of made me a little sad because I was like, oh, we were having a good time. Oh no!
Yeah.
So, what's your
Yeah.
rating?
We're in sync this week. I give it 9 out of 10 Big Macs under a covered dish.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
really like this episode. A lot of fun. Great seeing the ant farm brought to life, and a lot of good character moments. The whole team was kind of part of this one. And you notice we're seeing a lot more of Rita being involved with the team,
Yes.
despite her protesting
Yeah.
and her kind of like going, "You're not seriously going to trust him." She ends up going along with it,
Yeah, she did.
especially after Silas refers to her as the linchpin.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that she's starting to be able to control herself. I
Yeah,
talked about that last week, and I think that's a stronger. I think it's run its course. I think it was
yeah,
important
right.
but now that she has come to grips with herself, I think that's just really important.
Yeah, because she easily put herself back together after oozing out of
Yes,
Cliff's insides.
yes. So that's
So,
good.
yeah, that
Hmm.
was good. So, yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully it sounds like Rita's on the right path, or at
absolutely.
least, maybe she's not quite there yet, but she's definitely heading in the right direction.
She is
At,
getting there. Absolutely.
at last. Okay.
Okay.
Um, I don't have any Titans Tower news, unfortunately.
I just tweeted
Yeah,
um, while I had just saw this. Um, there was a released or leaked photo of what could have been Starfire's outfit for the first season.
yeah,
I just if you guys look at our Titan Talk Twitter, you'll see it there. Would have looked a lot better.
yeah.
Uh, so
Maybe
uh,
you want to throw that up on the Facebook page
I
as
will.
well.
I will
Yeah.
do that. Yes.
All right. All right.
All right.
So
I
check
have
that out.
Holly's email.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to read
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Charles and Jesse.
And this
What?
is regarding Cyborg Patrol.
Yes, she called it Robot Patrol, which I thought
But,
was
but
funny.
yeah, but
Hi,
it's really,
Charles and Jesse.
yeah.
What an episode. The timing of this episode was perfect. It really flew by. I really feel for Vic and what he's going through. Still glad that the main group didn't really trust Vic's dad, though I think Vic's dad really knows how much danger Vic is in, along with Larry. Note to self, take the stairs in the Department of Normalcy. The elevator is almost like a version of the Hulk with all the banging it sent our rescue crew on. Poor Cliff and the gal that wants to send him to the scrap and recycle pile. Jane switching into Karen helped slightly. The one way to stop yourself from getting tortured? Of course. Oh, that's one way to stop yourself from getting
Yes.
tortured. Of course, Mr. Nobody would be behind Vic's going haywire and causing him to murder his dad. I'll wrap it up here. Holly from Wisconsin. Thank you,
Yeah.
Holly.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. And I want to send out our special thoughts to Holly. As I understand things, she lost her father recently,
Oh, no.
if
Yeah,
if I understand things correctly. So I want to pass along our special thoughts. Holly, you're always great writing in, and I just want to let you know that we're thinking of you at this difficult time. So,
absolutely.
and our thoughts are with you.
Absolutely.
All right. But kind of rebound. I know that's kind of a downer, but I did want to kind of acknowledge that.
I'm glad
Um,
you did.
yeah. But yeah, so if you want to be like Holly, and if you're enjoying Doom Patrol, and I hope you are, or you just want to let us know how we're doing here on Titan Talk, please write to us at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to us on Twitter at Titan Talkcast, or on Facebook at Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, where we'll try and update you with all kinds of Titan Season 2 news and hopefully some Doom Patrol Season 2 news down the road. Hopefully we get picked up for another year for Doom Patrol, and any other kind of cool DC Universe news or stuff we just find interesting. We'll post that there. Please like and follow us there. We definitely appreciate that. And also go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, rate and review us. And we would definitely appreciate that because that helps people find us. And also, please go to the Southgate Media Group page and support the Southgate Media Group Patreon, which helps us keep the lights on here at Doom Manor and or Titans Tower, take your pick. And that helps us get these wonderful Southgate Media shows, including Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, out to you guys. I'm sure Rob Southgate, our executive producer, would definitely appreciate that.
Looks like he is having a blast. Him and his lovely
His
wife,
family,
are having a great time.
and their daughter Molly.
Molly.
They're touring London and Dublin, and I am all kinds of jealous because I've been to both cities, and I desperately want to go back. So I am all kinds of envious of them, and hope they had a good time. But next time if you guys go, make a little space in your luggage for me,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you might have to pay that extra, weight fee.
Yeah,
but
it's worth it. Yeah.
Totally worth it. Just
Absolutely.
saying. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Jesse, other than that, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
So you can reach me on Twitter at Jesse Jackson DFW. I am on Facebook, Jesse Jackson, Louisville, Texas. You can hear me talk Doctor Who on a routine basis with the best Doctor Who co-host in the world, Charles Skaggs.
Who? What? Where?
And Charles has been doing the heavy lifting while I'm taking a little time off while I'm doing my Game of Thrones podcast.
You see where his priority is, right?
Well, just if there was new Doctor Who, I would be putting it on right away.
There's always new Doctor Who. It's all out there. Stuff you haven't seen yet.
So Charles is doing a great job of coordinating some guest hosts like Sam Sprouse, Christine from the Small Council Matters, just on and on and on.
John Takis. We have Lee Leonard coming up once again. I'm going to be recording with him later today as we discuss The Girl Who Waited, which is a great episode.
Yes. So a lot of stuff. So we had just a lot of stuff. I also can be heard on Set Lustig Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen podcast, where I talk to Springsteen fans from around the world, talking about their Springsteen journey. We have new Springsteen music coming in June.
And you're all kinds of excited.
And there is a Blinded by the Light, a movie coming out that
I was wondering if you knew about that. I should have realized you knew about this movie because I saw it at Entertainment Weekly. I'm like, Jesse's going to be all over this.
Have you watched the trailer?
I have not watched the trailer, but I did read up on it, so I know what it's about, but I haven't seen the trailer yet.
So
how happy were you watching that trailer?
So I'm going to have you watch the trailer and then we'll talk about it. But What was funny is we were in a meeting with the senior support agents, and it was at the very end of the meeting, and we were casting, and I sent a link, and I said, before you hit play, how many times do you think I will watch this movie? So they're watching it, and for the first minute or two, you can't tell that it's a Springsteen movie.
Yeah.
And then it clicks to a moment, and they start screaming, and one's like, 37 times. You're going to see this more than you've seen Avengers, more than Batman. This is amazing. So, yes, you should check out the trailer.
Yeah.
So, Charles, when you are not talking Doctor Who and Titans with me and listening to me go on and on about Bruce Springsteen, where can they find you?
They, of course, can find me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter or at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. Not Google Plus anymore. I'm sorry. I get it back in my old habits. Facebook at Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. And let's see here. My blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all kinds of comic book, sci-fi news of the DC Universe shows, any kind of casting or show information that comes out about Titans, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, Stargirl, any of the other DC Universe shows, or news of my other podcasts I do for Southgate Media, including the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that I do with Jesse and assorted special guest companions right now. And then also Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast they do with Zan Sprouse, who has helped us out on Next Stop Everywhere recently. Did a great job there. And on that, we talk about all kinds of course, Twin Peaks, David Lynch, all kinds of, whatever weird pop culture references. So if you're into kind of the Doom Patrol thing, you might want to check us out on Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast. We definitely appreciate that. And I think that's about it.
I think so too.
So, recently I did post my big Avengers Endgame review on Damn Good Coffee.
You did. Very
Spoilers,
nice.
Spoilers, I liked it. But,
yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah.
But if you're looking for a big spoiler-filled review, there you go. I laid it all out for you. There's lots of typing involved, needless to say.
Yes, I bet.
So many characters in that movie.
Yes.
But it was good. It was good. And you enjoyed it, I'm sure.
I did. I loved it. Yes.
Yeah. So other than that, everybody come on back next week for our next episode, Flex Patrol, which is the 13th episode of Doom Patrol, where we have the Doom Patrol trying to restore the memories and abilities of Flex Mentallo, man of muscle mystery, while Rita confronts her self-doubt and Larry realizes how tied he is to the negative spirit. So we'll see
very nice.
We'll see what happens there. So maybe some more Rita coming to terms with herself, it sounds like, and we'll see what Larry's connection to the negative spirit is now that this negative spirit has been released from that container.
Yeah, that's that was a great moment. So good.
Yep.
Well, Charles, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
I will, and thank you again for doing this podcast with me. I always enjoy talking with you.
I love talking to you, Charles. It's always great.
I'm so glad you're enjoying the show, and we only have 3 more left of season 1. So we're going to come into the head, and obviously we're going to be building right up to the big battle with Mr. Nobody. I have no idea how they're going to stop him, but we'll find out.
I have no idea either.
But at least they're keeping us guessing. So we'll look forward to that, and everybody come on back. Next episode of Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, where we'll talk Flex Patrol. And we see you next time right here, Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.